incredible. I can play piano, not expertly, but I don't have a piano on me. I don't think you want me to sing a cappella. But, hi, Nick. Thanks. Okay, I'll read you. Thanks for pointing and calling out the veiled cyber attacks and threats and how backward the U.S. is in technology, which Andrew points out. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Nick. It certainly was very top of mind because, again, we're undergoing this attack ourselves right here, right now. If you want to test this for yourself, don't take my word for it. Don't take Andrew Yang's word for it. Go on a computer, on a laptop or a desktop. Google my name. You can write in Jonathan Herzog. You can write in Jonathan Herzog, Andrew Yang. You can write in Jack Curzon. But really, you'll see it mostly if you search my name. And then carefully just scroll. Click on any of the news tabs. So that's important. Click on the news. And you'll see what we're talking about. And again, we all have to be very, very vigilant. Because if this can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. And that's why we have to put a stop to it. But thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Tyler says, yes, Yuval Harari is certainly, I think, a very top of mind, important historian in today's context. I think he, as Barry Weiss has said, managed to slip in to the American elite a particular message that has resonated all the way from Barack Obama to Silicon Valley to Andrew Yang and the Yang Gang. And I think that's a testament to the veracity and the authenticity of his writings. I feel like I should tell a joke. A really, really funny joke. I don't have a joke in mind. I was not prepared. Okay, ready for this joke? Will you guys play along with me? Okay, I think I have it. What did the lettuce say to the refrigerator? You have to write at least 2 possible responses in the comments before I tell you the hilarious punchline. I say this because I have lettuce in front of me. Theories? Suggestions? Is anyone there? All right, we'll give it a few more minutes and then may have to call it. Very offended no one took up my joke. All right, well, for those of you who were curious and didn't want to out yourselves as such, the punchline is, close the door, I'm getting dressed. Do you get it? Because you put dressing on anyway. Wow, Nick's got nothing. Where are you, Nick? Are you in New York? There was this fascinating article and graphic in the New York Times, I think yesterday, a few days ago. It showed the movements, essentially, of New York residents. And it kind of mapped out wow, Peter, I so appreciate that. That's incredible. I got 4 ha's. That's like more, wow. That's touching. It was a heat map of New York City, Connecticut. Awesome. And it showed the portions of the districts where people had left, people had fled due to COVID. Again, we're in the middle. This is literally, ground zero for it. And what you see is highly, highly concentrated in Manhattan. In particular, the shades of red are much darker, which means up to and above, in some cases, 40% of people have left the city in its entirety. So if you look on like Central Park Row, for example, on Central Park West on the Upper West Side, it is just full on dark red, meaning that more than 40% of people have actually left. And this is one of the great inequities in our ability to respond to natural disasters or pandemics, which is people's mobility and flexibility and ability to relocate and change on the dime is highly, highly contingent upon income. And it was a really, really stark graphic where you see up to 40% of some areas in Manhattan, in the district, have fled to. Yes, great question, Jonathan. If you look at the map, you'll see people tend to go to Florida and parts of California and other areas as well. But it seems like the highest outflow of traffic was down south and out west. And this is exactly the opposite direction we have to be heading, right? We have to rebuild and make every city, every home sustainable to the extent we can with, welcome back, Ching.
Sorry about that. Oh my God.
No worries. I was going on a monologue with all our friends.
Yeah. I can hear you much better.
Terrific.
So I think that the sluggish internet, whatever it is, sorry about that. Yeah.
No, it's very apropos.
Okay, great. So so I hear you a little bit. Yeah. So I had a hard time to log into this computer. Yeah. Anyway, so what were you saying there?
Oh, so we were talking about the inequities that are being unearthed by COVID. And in fact, this is one of them, where basic access to broadband, less to say fiber, is one of the core inequities to date.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this in examples of schooling and universities going online and everyone having to take their classes via Zoom. But basic access to the knowledge economy through broadband or through fiber is, while it should be a basic right of citizenship, is certainly not guaranteed and not equal across the board.
Right. Your face is a little bit dark. Do you have any, or is it because of me? Your face is a little dark. Is it dark?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's just like I don't usually use this iMac. So anyway, can you tell us a little bit about your program? You're so awesome. If anything, if you do become a congressman, you can have a TV show. A dialectic.
Yeah.
Your show. You want to talk about that?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Cheng. That is so sweet of you.
I watched many of the episodes.
Oh my gosh, that genuinely means a lot. And you've been a leader and vocal Yang Gang Media since the beginning. But so this is just our small way of hopefully adding to that sort of independent voice. And yeah, we've had people on like Michael Sandel, Dan Price, Wesley Yang, most recently Rob Henderson. We had Muhan Zhang on last week, which was fun because he was the first hire on Andrew Yang's campaign.
Yeah.
All the way back to 2017.
Yeah. That was he talked to 3.5 hours, like almost 4 hours.
Yeah, how much of it did you make through? How much of it did you survive?
I listened a lot. I was outside. I was taking a walk. So I was like,
God.
Yeah, I was like, so I listened to most of it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. Yes. So that one in particular, we decided there was so much, over the span of years that Muhan and I had to sort of like uncover and like pull back, because we had been through so much together and apart, and it definitely felt like we needed to air it out and just give the conversation space to breathe.
Yeah. So back to like you go through so much. Like I was just wondering, like I know you're the number 6 of Andrew Yang's team core member. Like how did this whole thing, like in the short version, like how did you get into or get to know Andrew Yang? Like how did he say, "Hey, Jonathan, you go to Iowa now"? I said, "Okay, sir. I'm getting out of Harvard
Yes,
school." So can you give us a little short version of how this whole spiel goes?
Totally. The short version goes as follows. As you said, I was a student at Harvard Law School, was very involved and active on campus, was co-president of student government, just kind of very, steeped in campus life, as it were. And I'd heard about this random guy named Andrew Yang running on a universal basic income back when the campaign launched. And I said, this guy has to be our next president. And so I just kind of organized and volunteered on campus and put together this event on the future of Asian American leadership. It was with Jeannie Sue Gerson, who was the first female Asian American tenured law professor at Harvard. And we got Andrew roped in to come into campus. And then it was it turned out it was actually the biggest event, or the biggest campus event, it seemed, the campaign had to date. And this was fall of 2018. And we sat down for dinner afterwards, Zach, Andrew, and Andrew was like, "Will you go to Iowa for me to build it out?" And I was like, I don't know if this will like play that well in the great state of Iowa.
Yeah.
But push came to shove, and literally that weekend,
wow.
he had a trip planned there.
Yeah.
And so I came along. I met Carly there because she was the body man for that trip. There's always one person who's like assigned to go. Back in the team was like 5 people. And I mean, that was, and the rest is history from there.
Yeah. So do you have to discuss that with like anybody in your family? Like, what did your parents say?
Well, it was funny because, Andrew's like being the hilarious person that he is. When I introduced him at an event once in New Hampshire, I come in very like serious, like, like with my suit and whatever. And he like interjects and he's like, and he has a mother and he's like, and he has a mom, to like say that, like, yeah, I don't know why he's doing this. He's fucking crazy, but he has a mom. And so I was like, I do indeed. But I mean, I think the reality is like, and this is true for all of us, I think everyone here being early adopters, in some form or another, we end up finding that we get more and more vindicated as people catch on and on. Whether that go from the media to politicians to family members and friends alike. Right. Time sometimes is the best healing device to bring people on board and realize that this vision matters and should matter to them as well.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit of your upbringing. I know you were born in New York. At one point you were in Alaska. So you must be, your parents, you must be very liberal people, very international, or very, I don't know, not stuck in one place kind of people, right? So tell us a little bit.
Well, so my parents are actually pretty conservative immigrants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and from Israel, and I was born and raised in New York. And we ended up moving to Alaska when I was a kid because my dad got a job out there. So we were there just for a few years. But yeah, for the most part, I was born and raised on the west side, from the border of Hell's Kitchen and the Upper West Side. went to Hunter College High School.
Yeah. Guess what?
What's that?
When did you go to Hunter? Did you go as a kindergarten or 7th grade?
No, I entered in 7th grade.
Oh yeah, so does my son.
Wait, did he just start?
No, Sean already finished. Sean is a college kid now, but he went to Hunter when he was 7th grade.
Sean went to Hunter entering in 7th grade.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's
incredible. You're alumni. Yeah, that's very proud of you on the list now. So yeah, so Hunter kids. So that's another.
I love Hunter kids. I love Hunter
kids. another group of species. You know, very different.
That is a great way of putting it, Ching. That's a very
yeah. So you went to Hunter, yeah, and then did you try really hard to get into Harvard? Because getting to Harvard is like a very, very huge, big F deal. You know, for a lot of Chinese parents, you know. Tell me a little bit about that.
Wow, I'm like getting chills from this. I love you even more because I love that as a mom to a Hunter kid, especially, you're in the Yang Gang and you're on board with this vision, because it just, to me, that's just such self-awareness and reflectiveness in action, because so many of our peers, and this is, Andrew's whole message in the War on Normal People, is really talking to his peers, right? Who came up and survived the system and made it through and checked the right boxes and then went on to do the same 5 things in 5 cities: consulting, finance, tech, grad school, law school, and the like. And they then become the same cogs in the machine that they made fun of or kind of ridiculed early on. And so I love that. And I mean, this better than anyone, being I'm sure what Sean went through. I mean, it's like torture on the one hand, but then it's just like a blessing and an opportunity and like God's gift on the other, right? Coming from nothing, coming from being new to the country and new to the system, and having to reverse engineer it and figure out the ins and outs of what's an AP, what's an SAT, what's all this bullshit. And then it's incredible because you're thrown into this group of mostly first generation Americans, a lot of them from China, Taiwan, South Korea, Bangladesh, and India, and they're just striving. They're just they're young, scrappy, and hungry in the truest sense. And it's just such a shame. And this is what in part drew me to Andrew in the early days. It's such a shame and a sapping of the human potential when you see these lights, this human light, get squandered in the halls of, some corporate law firm or some investment bank or what have you. And no knock on anyone for, because we all have, lives to make. But I know, having worked in all of these places, and, again, talking to someone who's an artist and just like a true, genius and talent, I think you somehow see the two sides of that. The humanity and the potential, and then how it can be so easily squandered.
Yeah. So you did not answer my question about Harvard thing. So
oh my God, you're so funny.
Are you going back sometime? Or are you just done?
Ching knows what she wants to get.
Just curious.
Yeah. So the truth is, I actually did end up going back. And so I'm finishing up the degree simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
Now, as it turns out, everything is happening via Zoom. And so it's actually, in the most tragic of ways, exactly the kind of moment to do that. So I will be finishing it. Yes, Mom.
Because I say you're a dropout. People say, that's good. Anyway.
I mean, well, I guess time will tell. I could still be a dropout, so I will still, what have you.
There's so many great entrepreneurial dropouts, right? Mark Zuckerberg, Steve, whatever, the Microsoft guy, So anyway, I just think some of our parents, Chinese parents, a lot of Asian fathers, they should just like chill, just chill,
Wow.
because
That's
degree
incredible.
is not the most important thing. I mean, degree
Wow.
is great. Degree is a piece of paper. It's experience. It's a verification of your work. It's it's something. It's like a trophy. But even if you have a trophy, it doesn't help to build your life, for everybody. So.
Wow. Why do you get that? Like, why do you see that so clearly?
Because I just in life, you look around and not. First of all, a lot of people try to get into the Ivy League school. They try so hard. Some of them even fake their writing or hire someone write for them. Then they win. But the point is, you are accepted. It's fine. It's fine to be accepted. What happened afterwards? What happened during the school? Can you catch up? And then after you graduate, so what? I mean, life is not only a piece of paper. So there's so many other elements in it, and so So some of us, just like looking at you as like you say you're a dropout, and they're just like they just feel so delicious, There's like, wow, dropout people can be so smart. So anyway, now let's talk about how we can help you to win. For a while, people ask collecting signature. Is the signature all done?
Yes, the field has narrowed from 8 to 3. Other people have spent more than $2 million. We've spent $8,395 per the last FBC filing, and we are on the fucking ballot.
Wow, awesome. So tell us what else people could do for you other than writing check to your campaign.
Totally. Well, I so appreciate it, Ching. That really means a lot, and we are in the thick of it now. The primary is in 35 days, and we have a really clear path. If the Yang Gang gets just 2% of all New Yorkers on the west side of Manhattan and South Brooklyn, just 15,000 votes by mail by June 23rd, we have won the seat and unseated the number 2 Dem, a 30-year incumbent who was first appointed to the seat in 1992, the chair of the House Judiciary. I mean, the Yang Gang would have the biggest bully pulpit in Congress for universal basic income and for our vision. And so the goal right now over the coming days, this week, this Friday, is to join forces with you and all the Yang Gang influencers across the country and force the first series of televised debates in the district's history. So that, if you look back April 24th, when we all got together and trended Congress passed UBI, we got Pelosi to come out just 3 days later and make a statement about UBI. But here's the thing, and that was tremendous. That was like incredible, right? Here's the thing though, like, we're not here to have a conversation. We're not here for some lip service about basic income. We're here to pass it. And the only way we're going to do that, it seems, is to win and do it ourselves. And that's why I've spent, past number of weeks, actually, part of my time was drafting the bill, the freedom dividend bill, so that we actually have, something people can sign on to. And so this is over the coming days. We're going to be, a lot of the calls and just brainstorm sesh of the best, most impactful hashtag to trend. And we're going to be tagging and adding the @Rep Jerry Nadler account, @Errol Lewis, @New York One, @Anderson Cooper. Like, we want to force, and we will if we come together, the first series of televised debates in 10th district history. This is the heart of New York City, the home of Wall Street, right? The ground zero for the winner take all economy, where it's the world's financial capital, but 1 in 6 people live in poverty. It's the world's financial capital, but you have public housing and squalor and then luxury developments on the other side of the same street. I mean, if you actually look at the heat maps of how COVID has affected, I mean, it is just shocking. The level of disparity and just stark real life inequality playing out on the streets. So that is the most important urgent thing coming up this Friday. And all best ideas, best practices around that are so welcome.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. 10th district is covering so many. Tell me, why is that? It's so confusing. Like, tell us, like, yeah. Well, who when you become the congressman, like you have to cover so many areas.
Yeah, well, I think you know why, Ching, right? Because in the United States of America in 2020, our representatives pick their constituents, not the other way around. And so, to your point, this district has been drawn nearly a dozen times over the last number of years. And it's been redrawn to include basically just the parts of Borough Park that covered the Hasidic communities there. And they're facing 30-40% poverty rates. They're facing anti-Semitic attacks on the streets. And so it was just drawn so that the demographics of the district fit the representative. So that's why you'll see it goes from the west side of Manhattan, hops over, and then just parts of South Brooklyn. Right.
So, yeah, you just missed me. I am 13. Yeah, right? Like 10 is like in the tail of the morning side. Yeah. So, yeah. So, great. Now, tell us a little bit about Andrew Yang. Like, can he help you? Can Andrew Yang help you now?
So the answer is yes, but I think the reality that we have to all wake up to, and I know it's hard to own, it's hard to process, but we can help ourselves. And what we saw in the weeks and months after he suspended his campaign is that the Yang Gang operated permissionlessly. The Yang Gang on its own is the most powerful force in American politics to date. And even Andrew Yang was shocked that, again, if you look at the Congress passed UBI and the ability to get Tim Ryan on board and the ability to get, dozens of representatives on board and Pelosi to even make a public statement. So I hear you, certainly. Yes. And he has, he has formally endorsed. He was on our ballot petition, the top of our vacancy committee, which means if I die, he gets the seat. So certainly. But I think really the message of the campaign and the movement is that we, the Yang Gang, we have more power than we even think or consider.
Yeah. So, do you remember? Do you still remember how we met?
How we met? Oh my gosh!
When was the first time we met? Do you remember? I do.
Oh my gosh!
You know?
No. Hold on. I think it was at was it the beginning? Was it around signature gathering and we went to that? Yes, outside of HQ.
Yeah. We had a signature training at HQ, and then a bunch of us went to a party next door. So we partied till really late. Yeah. So that was my first time knowing you. Yeah, good memory. I tested you. That's good. That's a Harvard brain. And then I think I met you 3 more times. Came to your
Jonathan Herzog.
Kickoff. And then Yang Gang. We met again the last time before the shutdown. February 29th. There was a Yang Gang. Yang Gang hang out in a bar. Remember? Well went.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. So that was
Crazy.
and then I saw you 2 days ago. So yeah, I calculated I saw you at least 4 times. But anyway, yeah. So you strike to me to be this really, of course you are very young still, but you are very humble. You don't have like a huge ego, which I really like. And when you speak, you're just so articulated. I enjoy your TV show or your, your YouTube show. Yeah. So is dialectic going to be like a regular thing? Like, do you have a regular, like a once a week, or for like like for 1 hour or for 3 hours? Do you want to share more about your show?
Sure. Well, first off, thank you so much, Ching. Gosh, that was so sweet and generous of you. And yeah, I mean, so the goal of it really at the outset was to try to add value, and I knew that there was these, and frankly, it kind of goes back to my original days on the Andrew Yang campaign, where I had been obsessed with and kind of unconsciously had this kind of curriculum on the side with people like Sam Harris and the kind of tribe of reason and the marketplace of ideas. And I was like, oh, so cool. For years now, there's this whole like separate world on the internet. People talking about, science and evolutionary psychology and all sorts of strange things that people will listen to for 1, 2, 3 hours in a deep dive. And then I came across Andrew Yang and I was like, wait, here's a guy running for president, the kind of action oriented, here's the movement for the tribe of reason. But when I first came across it, these two things existed in silos, in separate spheres. And so my whole like life's mission at that point became to bridge the two. And so when I joined the campaign, the thing I spent, the first number of weeks, really the first month on, was putting together and working with the team to put a pitch to have Andrew reach out to Sam Harris and Eric Weinstein and say, hey, if your words are not hollow, and to your question earlier, Ching, like if you can do anything to help this movement, like this is the campaign, the vessel for the tribe of reason to wake up and act and actually solve the problems, not just talk about them. So we put together, we rewatched all these videos, we put the timestamps, the hyperlinks, we put it together in this pitch, got on the phone with, Andrew and Zach and Carly and the team, and Andrew sent off the email the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
3 hours later, he gets a reply from Sam Harris saying, got you on Rogan, scheduling to follow. And so this is at a time chain when the campaign is bankrupt. There, people are like, this ship is, like sunk. There's, we have no polls. There's no money. No one's, giving anything to this campaign. But we had scheduled 2 months out this big reveal of Andrew Yang that would then lead him to be one of the earliest contenders to qualify for the debates and then become a top 6 candidate in Iowa. And so this kind of wraps around to your question, because like the goal of this dialectics and these, this whole series is, it still seems like to me there's these things that exist in silos. Like there's the Yang Gang and there's, the incredible movement that we've built. And then there's some of these thinkers and people that I think we should collide with and engage with. And so that was really the kind of reasoning behind it. Like people like Roberto Unger, like Michael Sandel, these philosophers that I think provide some kind of foundation, like a moral foundation for the vision and the values that we've been fighting for. And so that was really where it came out of. But again, to your point, we build everything 0 to 1. That's like the whole Yang Gang thing. Like no one's going to build it for us. There's nobody in the wings. There's no adults in the room. We have to rebuild the institutions ourselves. And this goes for these types of conversations. And although the one thing I will say, just quickly on that, is we really didn't want it to be just a conversation, because so much of the even podcasting style gets trapped within kind of diagnoses, or talking about how shitty things are. And we really wanted to try to like bridge these two worlds and say, well, how do we actually offer a path forward? So that was the kind of reasoning behind it. And the exact structure and timing just depends on when and what adds value.
Yeah. So, sorry about this. Someone keeps calling me, and I just had to shut the phone. Let's take a look of our audience members if they have any questions. Let's see. Rob B, did Medicare sink his campaign? Sink whose campaign?
I think he means Andrew's.
Oh, okay. Is it?
So I'll say this, and I think this is pretty controversial to say.
Oh, yeah?
But I'll say it. I think
Yeah.
I think what ended the campaign was it being ended. It's kind of as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I think, again, these kind of fundamental juncture points and forks in the road, where the powers that be, tell you have to do this, you have to do that, and it turns out like he actually could have been still in the right. Again, water under the bridge. This is history. Water under the bridge. This is history. But I think Muhan put it best. He said campaigns end when they end, or when they run out of money. I mean, I think he should and still will be the next president.
Where were you on that the day, February the goddamn 11th?
Yeah, so we were coming. I was coming back from New Hampshire that day. Yeah, back to New York, I think, or Boston. New Hampshire, Boston, New York. Yeah. So
you already knew. We don't know, because we were still like, I was like streaming, in New Hampshire, in Manchester, and then even that morning we were Nick, Joy, and I believe we were still canvassing in Plymouth.
Yeah, we were canvassing. Oh gosh, they like sent us somewhere all the way up north. I don't even remember the town, but we were there too. Just some like they threw us all the way up in the north.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, then I shouldn't feel too bad. Somebody else is also doing it, So yeah. So we were at we were at the room with a lot of young men, and when the news broke out. So, anyways, let's see. So the Yang campaign ended because powers that be made it happen. That's what Peter said. Do you understand what he said?
Yeah, I mean, and I think Andrew has said this himself as much, which is, he came in with a certain belief that, we're going all the way. And again, just kind of listen to his own words on how, certain voices kind of evolved throughout the process. But again, this is, past looking, kind of history looking. And really, it's in part why we're so committed and energized and focused on the next 35 days for this campaign, because if Yang Gang wins this seat, that will be the biggest upset in modern political history. And we'll have the biggest bully pulpit in the country.
Yeah. So, I see it is all very strategically smart move that we win seats in the House, because it's all linked. Even if you become a president, if you don't have enough House, if you don't control senator, right? We can get things done.
So key, yes, and thank you, Ching, because this is so key. The way our system of government is set up, it is designed to be conservative and slow because of the separation of powers between the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch, right? So the body that makes laws, the body that enforces the laws, and the body that interprets the laws. And so actually the way laws are written and made in the United States is 435 representatives in the House and 100 senators in the Senate. You know, people in the House, representatives elected every 2 years, senators elected every 6 years. That is actually how the law.
Uh-oh. Frozen.
Yeah, and so if you look back at the Obama administration in particular, Obama comes into office on this great wave and national mandate of change and hope. 2 years later, the Tea Party really comes to the fore in the wake of the financial crisis and the inability to bail people out because we bailed out the banks. And so all these protest movements arose, and Democrats, lost control of the House and also couldn't get anything done. And so the way any legislation, any piece of law, universal basic income in particular, gets passed, written, really moves forward is through the halls of Congress. The president would just sign it into law.
Right. So I just want to thank some people made a comment. Tyler is our guy, young guy. Jonathan, like how you mentioned. Did you see that?
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler.
So anyway, and then thank you, Nick. Always very supportive to my my channel, and he's on our channel many times, and also
Amazing. Thank
as
you.
an audience. Yeah, he's always. So I know you have something to do. You have. Should we do a 2-minute rapid fire?
Let's do it. Okay.
Okay. So this is an unrehearsed. Okay. So.
Okay.
All right, rapid fire. Favorite music?
Okay. I've said Six. Six is like this new like Broadway on West End that was supposed to come to Broadway but didn't because of COVID. Listen to it. It's awesome.
It's called Six? Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
It's like a musical soundtrack.
Oh, cool. How about who's your oh, never mind. Do you like jazz?
Yeah.
Okay. Any favorite jazz musician or artist or genre?
Or what?
Genre. Jazz.
Oh,
Jazz
okay.
genre.
So this isn't jazz, but I've been listening to a lot of like Aretha.
Oh, okay.
Aretha, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite type of food?
Ooh. Okay. Favorite type of food is Cinnabon. I've said this before. It's just true.
What is that? What's Cinnabon?
Cinnabon is a cinnamon roll.
Okay, sorry. It's not my culture. Sorry. Okay. Beer or wine?
Wine.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Last book you read?
Ooh. Last book I read probably was The War on Normal People.
Yay! Me too. How about, do you do Netflix?
I do Netflix. Not recently,
Okay.
but in general, yes.
Any favorite TV series? Netflix.
I love stand-up comedians like Nikki Glazer and Ali Wong.
Great. All right. So between social media, Facebook, tweet, Instagram, or whatever, which one do you use the most?
Twitter.
Great. A country you want to have a vacation?
Ooh. Let's go to the Maldives.
I don't even know what's Maldives.
It's like this beautiful like collection of
Okay.
somewhere.
Yeah. What is your source of inspiration?
Wow. Source of inspiration is the sense that we can make life filled with less suffering and more flourishing for other people. And I think my parents' journey and sort of building their life here and, the sacrifices they made. I think the source of inspiration most recently is Andrew for having the courage and the sacrifice and the leadership to do what he did. and then all of the fucking Yang Gang, because we're all taking this onto our own shoulders in our own ways, to really move us forward.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I was just thinking when you're 25. I came to this country when I was 24, so I don't know anything much. So you are a remarkable, young and smart and intelligent and fearless and brave man. So I wish you the best, and I want to help you.
Thank you so much, Ching. I love you. I so appreciate everything you do. Gosh, that electric violin was beautiful, and just like, yeah, I feel like we're also now like connected at the hip because of the whole Hunter family thing. So, even more so, like,
yay, Hunter! Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching, and I think we're gonna end because Jonathan has more things to do, and so yeah, and you guys support Jonathan and go to his website. Put some money in. Okay. So
yeah, go to herzog2020.com, and please be on the lookout. Get ready. Friday at noon Eastern. Get ready to fire away on Twitter to force the first series of televised debates in New York City's, the heart of New York City's district history, so that we can force our hand and get universal basic income now.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. I'm going to put Jonathan, I think Jonathan's website is already in the below description. I'm going to put your Twitter also in, okay? So people can check out. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jonathan Silverman. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, many other people, Tyler. So we are end here now, and see you when Jonathan become a congressman. Thank you.
Ching, live from the halls of Congress. Let's do it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Safe.
Yeah. Bye. Bye, everyone.